Hi, everybody. I'm Joris. I will tell you about the CosyFood project. It was a project that was took place in Brussels. It was funded by the Brussels Agency of Research and Innovation, and it was carried out by the Université Libre de Bruxelles, together with three practitioners. So it was a co-creation project, which try to give an answer to the question: are alternative food systems sustainable? The practitioners were three different kinds of initiatives that were a bit representative for the different types of alternative food systems present in Brussels. The first one was a CASAP. It's a solidarity purchasing group with self-organizing groups. It's a non-profit association. They want long-term commitments from the participants who actively are active as volunteers. They help with the distribution of the food, and they have their own participatory guarantee system. The other one was La Vivrière. It's a web platform, a cooperative as well. It's actually it started out as a food assembly, La Ruche qui dit oui. But it got independent afterwards. What is specific about it is that the clients, they make their purchases via the internet, but they are personally, every week they meet the farmer who is personally delivering the food, and they work with local products, mostly organic products. And the third initiative was Farm. It's a network of stores. They had about 15 stores at that moment, I think. Cooperative as well, and they offer exclusively organic food, which is as much as possibly local. And the first thing we tried to do was get a common definition of what is a sustainable food system, and it was a huge discussion. I think it took us almost 2 years to have this discussion. Every food system implied their customers, their suppliers, and we had different discussions about it. What we found was that we had to get loose from the three sustainability pillars, because there was a lot of cross-cutting issues that we could not decide if it is really economic or social or environmental, but actually all of them. So we had to let loose of this conception of sustainability. What was special about this was that it was it was very comprehensive. We took the choice to not limit us to what is actually measurable. We put really everything what they considered what that is important in the vision or in the that we should also consider the whole food system. So the wholesalers, the retail system, its workers, the producers, the processors, everything. That was something that really stood out in this sustainability vision. In the end, we ended up with a number of principles. What you can see is that there is relatively a lot of attention for social issues. The environmental issues, they were taken for granted mostly, I think. And mostly had discussions about social issues, financial viability, fair pricing, local development, health issues, these kind of things. What we did was, for every one of these principles, we had a number of criteria. These criteria, for every criteria, we had a number of indicators. And for about half of them, we developed questionnaires to try to measure them. Yeah, we had three kinds of questions in a way. So there were questions which were oriented about what they were doing. What are you doing to make your products accessible for everybody? There were a number of questions which are more verification questions. How do you score the accessibility? How do you perceive the accessibility of this system? And then more impact or effect related questions like the profile, the socioeconomic profile of the consumers. I think we tried to measure about 70 indicators, but well, we must admit we did not succeed to have interesting answers for everybody, or answers that we could actually interpret. A number of them we could, and they are related to a number of claims that alternative food systems have. One of them is democratization. Most of the, I don't think I will go into detail on every question, but the just interesting part was that the practices are very different between the systems, but the overall results, the impacts, they are very similar. Like they had very different practices on ownership or level of formal power or the participation, but the satisfaction of the suppliers and the consumers over decision taking was in most cases very similar. Income security, it was actually very similar. So the two of the systems, they had no formal commitment between the different parties. The other system had very long-term commitments. They had total freedom on price setting, but they don't really always are capable of they didn't always use this this freedom. And in the end, in terms of wages or remuneration, there was actually no difference between the systems. We had the same type of consultations on awareness and well-being, on accessibility, which also was very different. So one of the systems is actually asking a lot of involvement of the participants. The other system on the right, this one, is actually giving a lot of freedom for the participants. But in the end, the evaluation of the consumers was very much similar, and neither of them actually was capable of reaching the representative portion of the Brussels population. There was always some categories missing, and yeah, the same. I don't think I'm going to go into this one, but what we concluded was, after this 3 years of discussions, was that there were actually a lot of similarities between these different systems, which was important to realize it, because when the project started out, there was a lot of discussion from different participants trying to convince the other that they are actually doing better on a number of things. But they were similar on the willingness to actively imply the consumer. That was very constatations, a clear break with conventional practices. And another constatation was that this was only on the distribution level. So the suppliers, they did not really try to imply the consumer. It's really something that the distribution level was trying to do. Another thing is that either they had a strong commitment, or either the participants were able to took freedom to have their own prices without looking to set their prices based on their own cost structure. But neither of them actually was able to have both of them. And they performed all very badly on fair compensation and on working hours. Most suppliers were working like 60, 80 hours a week. And the accessibility for vulnerable people as well was a problem for all of the systems. There were differences. The systems that had a direct contact with the producer and the consumer, they had the producers felt more recognized, and the consumers felt more aware. And the cooperative that is actually working like almost like a normal store. They offer different kind of products, also off-season products, and they ask less effort from the consumer, and they maybe this was also reflected in that there was a little bit of less awareness and self-reflection. And so that were more or less the conclusions of the project. So maybe just to contextualize a little bit, this was.
And Joris, yes, if you can conclude, sorry.
Okay, okay. I think I said almost everything. Maybe the only thing I would like to add is that I think what it actually contributed to the different practitioners was that they also used this reflection to develop their own tool, which is more integrated in their own strategy and daily practice. So they don't use this evaluation as such, but they use something which is based on it. I hope this is clear.
Thank you very much, Joris. So I see that we have one question from the participant, and it's about how was the definition of sustainability defined, and if it was only put on paper with the participants of participation of researchers and students in this field, or was the public more diverse?
It was actually the consumers of the different organizations, the different practices, and the suppliers. So it was, and then of course we actually were only moderating between the different parties. So it was very local and very contextual.